All right, so looking at this, do you know how from this statistics unit, it says Coach Fisk recorded the number of shots on a goal his first line hockey players made during the 2 weeks of hockey. So we're broken down into week 1 to week 2. All right, so we can actually go ahead and find the mean without drawing our dot plot. Now, our dot plot would be nice for the weeks in order to have a visual of what's going on. So that's really the only reason I'm going to draw it for you guys. I'll do this one as week 1, and I'll draw the next one week 2 in red. But really, we can find the mean just using the data. So let's see here. It looks like week 1, we have a 2 to 8. So I'm just going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I want to make sure all my numbers are there. Now from there, we got to add 8 or the different dots. So there's 1 at 5, 4, 6, there's an 8, there's a 2, 3, and 7. So all we see here is that absolutely no numbers repeat. All of them only happen a single time. Now let's do the same thought process for week 2. Notice here that even though I can label it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I'll even go up to 10 on this one. We don't start off so low. All these values are pretty high. We have 1, 8, a 7, a 9, 2, 5. So I'm going to put 2 dots, one on top of the other for those 2 5s. I have another 7, so just right on top, and another 8. So this one is a little bit more joined together, and we can even draw that little wave that we've seen in the previous. For this one's pretty straight. This one, there is no major waves, there is no peaks. It's just straight all the way across. So find the mean of shots on goals for each week. For week number 1, to find that mean, we need to add these all values together. So we need to add 5 plus 4 plus 6 plus 8 plus 2 plus 3 plus 7. And then we will divide by the 7 days total. So let's just add first. 5 plus 4 plus 6 plus 8 plus 2 plus 3 plus 7. All that is going to give me a 35 divided by 7 for the 7 days. It's just going to give me a 5 total. Now we repeat these exact same steps for week 2 as well. I'm going to go back over here and just look at these values real quick. So I have an 8 plus 7 plus 9 plus 5 plus 5 plus 7 plus 8. That's going to give me a 49. Divide that by 7 as well for the 7 days, and that mean value is 7. So for this answer, the mean for week 1, well, that is going to be, we said a 5, where week 2 came out to be 7. Now 5 has 2 parts based on the mean for each week. Which week did his first line take more shots on the goal? So keep in mind this is shots. Shots on goal. So in which week did the first line take more shots? Well, that's going to be week 2. And we can say it's week 2 simply because, well, they have more shots. Now, based on the comparison of the mean and the range for week 1 and week 2, what could the coach infer? So now we're looking at range values. Now range value I actually think is a lot easier than the mean. You just take your highest value, for us it's going to be 8, and subtract it by the lowest value of 2. 8 minus 2 is just 6. We do this exact same thing for our next one. For range, our highest value is going to be that 9. Subtract a 5. Well, that's 4. So we actually have a lower range for week 2 than we do at week 6. So based on the comparison of the mean and the range, what could the coach infer? The players made more shots in week 2 overall. So not only can our mean tell us that, but after we found that range as well, we found that the range was smaller during week 2. So with that, there was less variability. There was less change in week 2, which AKA means more consistent. Which is what coaches want. So refer to basketball. Basketball is my favorite sport, so that's really the only thing I can refer it back to. But if you are making more free throws, that's going to be a good sign overall. And if you're making more and more often, you have less variability. That's going to be better for the team overall as well. So less variability is actually a good thing, especially whenever we're talking about sports and shots made. Now looking at this, I'm actually going to do number 7 and let you guys look at number 6, simply because I really do feel like the odd problems are going to be more difficult in the long run, so I want to look at these odd problems with you guys. So for number 7, it says a dot plot shows a random sample of vertical leap heights of basketball players in 2 different basketball camps. Compare the mean values of the dot plots and round to the nearest 10th. So what's great here is that it actually tells us, or gives us a good baseline. We're told that 11 people were sampled, so that 11 is the players, and that is all values added together. So once again, what that means is that they took 22 plus this will be 23 plus that'll be 25, so on and so forth. They added all these values together to get 303. Divide that by 11. I'm going to use my calculator to help me out. That's going to give us approximately 27.54. Now we did go ahead and round for that. So for this next one, we will do that exact same process for camp number 2, except we are not given what all the values are added together, and we have to still find what that mean is. So with this one I'm going to write them down. I have an 18, plus this would be a 21, plus there's 3 22s here. So how I'm going to do that, I'm going to do 22 times 3 because there's 3 of them. Ooh, I didn't mean to move that sheet there. There we go. Plus, there's 2 24s, plus a 26, plus that between there is a 29, plus 2 30s, and then plug that into the calculator. So 18 plus 21. 22 times 3 will be 66. 24 times 2 is 48, plus a 26, plus 29, plus 30 times 2 is 60. This is going to come out to be 268. So 268 divided by 11, that's going to be 24.36 repeating. Now, both these numbers are going to be repeating. I forgot the bar there. So, based off these two means, the mean values tell you that participants in camp number blank jump higher in general. That's going to be camp number 1. And I mean, we can even see that just based off the last couple numbers here. So, this range will go all the way from 34 to 22. So, if we were to subtract that, that value would give me a 12. And then this range for this one, I have 30 minus 18. Oh, that also gives me a 12. But just looking at the values in general, for height or for camp number 2, we start at an 18 and we go to 30. Whereas camp number 1, we start at a 22 and then we go to a 34. Right off the bat, those ranges, the very beginning and the ending numbers, camp 1 has higher digits. So because of that, that can help us too in order to determine which camp has the higher jumps. So looking at number 9, it says Brianna asks 8 classmates how many pencils and erasers they carry in their bags. The mean number of pencils is 11 and the mean number of erasers is 4. The MAD of both sets is 2. What inference does Brianna make using this data? So let's kind of draw it out the way that we have seen in the notes. So we have that, and then we have one more. Just extend that out a little bit longer. So we typically see this as pencils. We're told that the mean was 11, but the MAD value is going to be a 2. And then we have erasers. This mean is 4, but the MAD value is also 2. So keep in mind with that MAD, it just kind of helps us find out how far away each of the values are away from the mean. And with both of them being 2, that means it just stays pretty consistent for every classmate. What we can say, though, is that more people, or not even more, it's just students, are carrying more pencils than erasers, and that is consistent for both items. Meaning that that's just typically going to be the same as that. No matter what you go or who you go up to, that people will typically have more pencils than erasers overall. Now that brings us to number 11. We have one last little problem where we have to, it's multiple choice and we're given 2 different bar graphs. Or not bar graphs, dot plots. So looking at these this dot plot shows the weight of a random sample of fish from 2 lakes. Now keep in mind that means that, let's just say, Round Lake is going to be Lake 1. And South Lake, we're just going to say is Lake 2. Which comparative inference about the fish in the 2 lakes is most likely correct? So with these 2 lakes, we can look at the graphs first and notice that Round Lake or Lake 1, I mean, it has a pretty standard little curve here. Well, Lake 2, on the other hand, we got 2 jumps. We don't just have 1 jump, we have 2 jumps going on here. So let's just look at these answer choices. There's about the same variation in weight between the small and large fish in both lakes. I wouldn't say that. It seems like we have a pretty significant jump here where this would be small and this would be big. Just off part A, I would say that Lake 1 has more big fish than small fish. there would not be a big variation at all. So with B, there is less variation in weight between small and large fish in South Lake than between small and large fish in Round Lake. So that's where you got to know your vocabulary. Less variation is going to be less change. Which, I mean, I disagree with that too. If anything, I think it's vice versa. For B, I think South Lake, which I'm labeling as Lake 2, has more variation. Definitely not less. So let's look at C. There is less variation in weight between small and large fish in Round Lake than between small and large fish in South Lake. This seems pretty spot on. As we see, it's mainly larger fish over here at Round Lake, which I did label as Lake 1, compared to South Fish, where we do have a fluctuation between small and big. But let's just check part D to make sure. There is a greater variability in weights of fish in Round Lake. There really isn't. There's not a lot of change. You are almost guaranteed to always get a big fish in Round Lake. So I would say our final answer would be C. But all this is interpreting graphs. Keep in mind with statistics, this is going to be your best educated guess. I've put that note down a couple of times, so I hope we have it down. Otherwise, that's pretty much it. I'm going to work on a review video to post here soon so we can go back and forth and see if you can answer a couple questions on your own and go from there.